and after reading the other article, what was the name of the other article? In India, a legend keeps a town nearly door-free. That's the other article that we read. So we read several things. There's another one that we read. Which one was the other one?
Life isn't fair.
That one was not about traditions. Which one's the other one about traditions? Dia de los Muertos. So we read 3 articles on traditions. So now we're looking at the prompt. We look first at the quote. The less there is to justify a traditional custom, the harder it is to get rid of it. Mark Twain. Traditions are done all over the world and within all types of cultures. Some are for various purposes, while others have long forgotten the reason behind the tradition. Think about this idea carefully. Write an essay stating your position on whether traditions should have a specific meaning behind them or whether traditions should be blindly followed. So right here, we're going to follow these 2 options that the essay gives us. Choose one. First of all, is there anything here that you might need to define further? Are there any words in here that you might need to discuss? They have specific meaning, so have purpose, should be followed blindly, do not know when or why they originate, right? Just like the DOL. Okay, so the first thing that you do here, and remember, every time you have this, before starting the essay, this is where you make your notes, this is where you brainstorm, this is where you look at what you're gonna do, this is where you create your plan. So we start off with the thesis statement, the counter argument, counterclaim. The counter argument and the counterclaim, you always have to do it because it makes the argument stronger. Remember when I told you, how many of you have seen the 8 Mile movie? Okay. Remember at the very end, the reason that Eminem didn't want to finish the rap because people were going to do what? They were going to look at everything that he's done wrong in his life, and then they were going to use it against him, and he was not going to win the battle, right? Because the rap battle is all about roasting, exposing. So in the end, he kind of looked at everything that he had done, looked at all the bad stuff in his life, and he's like, if I make fun of me, then no one can make fun of me, and I win. So the counter argument is kind of that. You make, if the reader's already thinking something opposite, you're already pushing it down before you even get, the reader to think, oh yeah, but, you're already letting it go. You see what I mean? You're squashing it down before it gets a chance to be in the reader's head. Okay, so then we move on to this side. And we write down the little column that says purpose, no purpose. And you start writing down what are some examples that you might have for they need to have a purpose. Which one are you going to go with? Purpose or no purpose? Do you highlight it or circle it? Then from here, you can use examples as the lottery. You can use Dia de los Muertos. The outline that we're going to be working on. Because sometimes when you guys are about to write the essay, you're just I don't know where to start, or I don't know what to do, or I don't know what to write. And so this helps you out. But this doesn't mean that you have to write the sentences out in here that you're going to be using. This is a plan. So the outline is a plan for what you're going to be doing when you start writing your essay. So you don't have to write 3 or 4 essays in this, 3 or 4 sentences in this little space right here. You can write just the little notes. So the first thing that we do is we choose a hook. What type of introduction do you want? Do you want a question? What else? Quote. What else?
You wanna no.
Can we use a quote?
You can use a quote. So we have
A
quote,
statement.
a statement. It can be a fact, excellent. It could be a thought,
Or an opinion?
an opinion. It can be an anecdote as well. An anecdote is something that happened to you, and you kind of like want to start off with that. So something that happened
Could it
to
be
you.
like a personal thing?
It could be a personal thing. It can be something that happened to you or something that you've seen. It can be a statistic. So any of those, you choose which one you want to start with, and that's going to be your hook. Then we go into the counter argument, counterclaim and counter argument. So you start with although. But I gave you several ones. You have although, many people believe, some people might say, even though. So you choose the one you want, and this is going to be the opposite of your thesis statement, and then you're going to come back again and say, but, you know, this is mine. So hold on, where's the other paper? So for your...
This one?
Yeah, this part. So for your thesis statement, before you go into the outline, you have to have your thesis statement. So let's write one right now. What is it that you believe about traditions?
That it should have a special meaning behind it.
Okay, so how are you going to write down a thesis statement, Nathaniel? Which one are you gonna go for? Traditions should have a purpose behind, or everyone should follow the traditions blindly without asking why.
You should know what it's about. Meaning behind.
You should know what it's about and meaning behind. So how are you gonna, okay, so go ahead and write your thesis down, guys, and then I'm gonna ask for volunteers to see what you wrote down. If you want, like, you can pause it and then go write your.
Already, do I put it here or here?
And it goes in the
Reason?
beginning, yeah, because
Reason?
that's the reason.
He's just highlighting.
One about those traditions. What are you gonna say about that?
So then it would be tradition should have a special meaning behind them, so you can know what the specific, like if it's right or wrong.
Very good. So Andres, are you okay with that? Evan, go ahead.
I believe that all traditions have a certain meaning behind them to anyone that celebrates a holiday or hosts an event.
Okay, good job. Remember, the purpose here is to convince. So the keywords to convince are should, I strongly believe, or I believe. To be assertive, you can just like whatever it is that comes after I believe, you can just like, you know, start with that. So for example, you say traditions should what?
Have a specific meaning behind
Have a specific known, because people are supposed to know about it, a specific known meaning
to them.
To them in order to do what?
How do you put like in words like so you can know if it's good or bad?
What do you mean? If
Like, because you know, like in the lottery,
Mhm.
they never questioned the tradition or nothing. They didn't even know what it was about, and it was a bad thing because they were killing people. So then, how would you put that? Like they're like,
Well, that would be in your examples.
no, for like your thesis. Like you believe that they should have a specific meaning, so because you want to know if what you're doing is right or good.
Okay. Traditions should have a specific known meaning to them in order. You want to put that in your thesis statement? In order to like know if it's good or bad?
Yeah, but that doesn't sound good if you put in order to know if it's good or
No.
bad. But that's why I don't know how to word it.
Traditions should have a specific known meaning to them in order to follow them. In order to. Okay, let's look at this sentence. How can we make this sentence a stronger sentence?
We need better vocabulary.
I think we need more facts.
Facts?
Yeah. I get you the dictionary, miss.
No, what are we gonna use a dictionary for? No, we don't need dictionary. We need to look at structure. We need to look at the sentence
Because you have to be specific.
structure. So like right here, let's write this sentence on a different paper. So anytime you have a problem with this, you like just write it on a separate sheet of paper and isolate it. And then you start working with it. Okay, so let's look at this one right here. Where's my pen? Okay. So remember, this is to convince. So you're always starting with, or you have to have that should in there. So traditions
Should.
should provide
Would it be background information?
Wait, where to write this?
No. Information
About tradition.
about its origin in order for people to follow it.
There it is. That sounds better.
Okay,
That
so
sounds
there you go. So like when you like isolate it, because sometimes you'll like have it in there and you're like, I don't know. So you start it over again and it should help you out. So that one's a good one. Does anyone have another one that you can share? Nathaniel, you had a good one.
Tradition should always live on and should always have a purpose behind them.
Traditions should live. Have that, we move on to the next thing, and now we're gonna start our rough draft. So we look at the hook that you chose, and in this case, I'm going to choose an anecdote. So I'll start off with every December 25th, I would run down the steps to the center of the room and feel giddy with excitement as I opened the presents under the tree. Okay, so this is going to be my my hook, my attention grabber. So every December 25th, I would run down the steps to the center of the room and feel giddy with excitement as I open the presents under the tree. Now, the introduction is what we start off with, but it's always something that you can come back and fix, come back and like erase things, add things, all those things. This is just a rough draft, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna come back and spice it up a little bit. Then I go into my counterclaim. So I'm gonna start with, although people believe that traditions should be followed blindly, I feel that you should always know the reason behind it. And then I can talk also about like how my parents would sit down and would say like, you know, this is not about presents, it's about something else, and they would explain, and we would know why we were opening presents as opposed to just like being doing it for nothing. And then I go into my thesis statement. Traditions should be celebrated only if you know the meaning behind them. Okay? So then, and then that's only my introduction. I have my hook, which is my anecdote. I have my counterclaim that starts with although, and then I have my thesis statement at the end. Does anyone want to share their hook?
Me.
Okay, go ahead, Joseph.
3 out of 10 people don't always celebrate traditions. Although 7 out of 10 people do celebrate traditions, but not everyone knows the tradition's significant meaning.
Okay, good job. And remember, this is a work in progress, so you're going to have to look at some synonyms.